Ciao Bolide family, we're here, episode number 4 of Bolide Talk. Today we have an injury lawyer, my very good friend, longtime friend as well, Maria Mendoza here with us. She's been making big steps in her career. She's gonna have to tell us a lot about it, a lot about what people does with these cars that are behind us, and a lot of crazy stories. So Maria, would you like to say something, introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me here. My name is Maria Mendoza, and I am an accident attorney here in Miami, Florida. And this is what I love doing. This is what I have been doing for the past couple of years, and I love it.
Fantastic. So, Maria, we want to know first, where did you graduate from college to become an injury lawyer?
Sure. It is a long process, actually, to become an attorney. So you have to go to college, then you get your bachelor's degree, and then you go to law school. To get into law school, you have to take an exam. It's called the LSAT, which it was really hard for me, at least.
Very fun, eh?
Oh my God. And then that's when you become a lawyer.
Okay.
And then you pass the bar and you become an attorney, which is different.
Okay, so what's the difference between a lawyer and an attorney?
That's a good question. So an attorney can be a lawyer, but a lawyer is not an attorney.
Okay, that's interesting. Tell us more.
Okay, so to become an attorney, you have to take the state bar, wherever you are, and then your license. And that's what makes a lawyer an attorney, because you can give legal advice at this point.
Okay.
But a lawyer is someone that graduated and obtained successfully their JD, their Juris Doctor, which is the second step after your bachelor's degree.
Okay. Interesting. But I didn't know the difference. I thought lawyer and attorney was the same exact thing. So that's very interesting. So right now, where do you work? What do you do?
Sure. I am a pre-litigation and litigation attorney at Sabinski Law. It is a well-established injury law firm here in Florida. We have a lot of interesting cases that I'm dying to tell you about.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we definitely want to hear about them. So, I would definitely want to start, with the very basic, like we all make mistakes whenever we get into accidents, like minor or major accident, whichever they may be, I want to know, what are the steps that you do when you get into an accident? What are the main mistakes that people do?
That is an excellent question. So the first thing that you do that could hurt your case, and I actually posted something about that on my Instagram this week, is to call your own insurance and call the insurance of the person that caused the accident.
Okay, that's the very first step, eh?
Yeah.
So are you supposed to, as a person, getting into an accident, do you think you should always have like a lawyer that you trust before you even get to that point of having an accident? You should always have somebody that you trust, or you should just do it, you suggest that they should just do it by whenever they get into a problem, they just call a lawyer?
So the problem here is basically that the insurance companies are becoming more and more aggressive lately, and they are not necessarily on your side. That's not every insurance company. It also depends on the adjuster. I will be the first person to tell you that. I'm very objective. But the issue here is that when you call your insurance company to report a claim, they're going to ask you questions. Some of them can go against your favor. And then if you hire an attorney later, they're going to say, oh, but you said at the time of the accident that you were not hurt.
Right.
Or you mentioned that your knee was hurting, but now your back is hurting.
Correct.
And so that's why I recommend an attorney, because we know what to say to the insurance company. We obviously we'll take care of your rights.
Correct.
And at least I don't get paid if you don't win. So for me, it is in the best interest
so it's a
of my
win-win
client.
situation.
Correct. If you win, I win, and obviously we go for more. Can you file your own claim? Yes. Can you do it yourself? Yes. Could it be successful? Yes. But it is proven that it is more successful if you do it with an attorney, because this is what we do for a living.
Yes, of course.
And also, we always go for as much as we can, and it is, like I said, it is proven that we get more.
For both parties, yeah.
Correct. And we usually, like 99% of the time, we're going to get more money than you would if you did it alone.
Of course. Okay, so for example, it happened to me multiple times. Like latest accident I did in Orlando, so it wasn't really fun. By mistake, I hit the person,
Oh.
From the back, yeah. My car was completely destroyed. His car was completely fine. He had a tow hinge in the back, so his car was perfectly fine. Mine was destroyed. Engine was to trash. The whole car was totaled. So at that point, when you get into an accident, should you really go talk to the? So what? For example, I see in Europe what happens is you get into an accident. The people try to get out of the way and step on the side of the road, and then they sort that out with the insurance later. A big difference that I see from there to here is that people tend to leave their car in the exact position which the accident happened. So let's say I hit you in the back or you hit me in the back, the car stays in the middle of the road in the same position until police arrive, which you could take ridiculous amount of time.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
that. So is that like a smart thing to do, just leave the car at the position that it is, which I think sometimes is crazy because they back up traffic like insane. But is that the right process of doing things?
Yes, and it is legal, actually. The governor passed a law that allows you to keep the vehicle in the area where it was hit. Or if the vehicle is not working, you can leave it there. Before, you were actually required to move to the side if you could. Sometimes, depending on the accident, you can't even move your car, right?
Exactly.
But if, say, in the case you can move it, I would suggest you leave it there because it is basically evidence. You take all the pictures there, you take your video, you want the police to document everything and find it the way it happened. Because I have had claims or in cases in the past where the person moves the vehicle and then the other person claims, oh no, but I didn't hit him in the back. They just stopped suddenly, or they did this that caused the accident, so it was not my fault. It's better to leave it the way it was. It's for your own good. Really.
Right.
Yeah.
Until police arrives, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So then, for example, in the case that let's say the car does not suffer any major, it happened to like a very good friend of mine. They got it with my car, by the way.
Oh, God.
So they hit him from the back, very lightly from the back, okay? And the car, yes, suffered like a very small little scratch. Nothing really to be worried about. And then the guy said, okay, we just exchange the licenses. We take pictures of whatever happened, and just we settle it between one another, okay? At that point in time, is it a smart thing to do? Just leave the scene and, go somewhere else? Is there like consequences that could happen? Like, for example, could the guy be like, oh, this happened, this guy fled the scene, I'm still here. Does that really happen?
100%. In Florida, yes, a lot of times. The smartest thing to do is to call the police because you want to have a police report. It's going to document everything that happened. It's going to show who was at fault.
Right.
And so when you talk to your insurance company, they're going to request that.
Right.
When your attorney talks to the insurance company, they're going to request that. I had a case in Tampa 2 months ago, and they couldn't wait for the police. Like you said, they take forever sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
Like 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And she had a baby in her car. And she's like, I have to go. My baby's crying. It's really hot. Like, I have to go.
Yeah.
She calls me later. She's like, this is what happened. And I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have left. She's like, yeah, but I was waiting almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you can actually file a police report later. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
you can do it online.
Okay.
But
you have to provide pictures and etc. or not really?
you explained your side of the story, but it really doesn't help too much. It helps to show that, you acted promptly and that you filed something, but you're not going to get a record of it. You have to download the one that you filed.
Okay.
The other person can still say, whatever they want because it's your word against the other person. Yes. And when you file a claim, like what's happening right now, the insurance of the other person is telling me, well, we're still investigating liability.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we have a police report. They're like, yeah, but it's not actually from the police. Or like, it is in the police system, like in their system online, but your client did it. So it's her word against my client. Thankfully, she had a Tesla. So there's footage
of everything.
Correct.
Yes.
But that's not the case always.
Yeah, prop to Elon Musk to do that. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. So I have a question. So in the case of insurances, right? So of course there's the two parties. They go through litigation. I'm sure it's like becomes like always a big thing. specific case, if both of the parties that were involved in the accident, they have the same insurance. Might sound like a stupid question. Like, how is that handled?
No, it's actually a really good question because when I started doing this, I was like, how do we do this?
Right, exactly.
Progressive against progressive,
Correct.
State Farm. So they have a duty towards their insured. And if there's clear liability, I mean, you're paying for your policy. You're paying for a service. They have to,
But do you get like 2 different agents for like each claim?
You do. You
For
do.
each person, yeah.
Of course, yeah. Otherwise, it will be a conflict of interest. But yeah, they work it out, and that's not a problem.
Okay. And how does the insurance process really work? You know, like on a more practical level. Okay, let's say we get into an accident. You get to an accident. I get into an accident with somebody, right? Let's talk the example of me in Orlando. I hit this guy in the back. Okay, and we wait for the report. The police comes out. They do the report. They report everything. Okay, so then at that point, I remember they came over to the office where the car was located. You know, to check the damages on the car, and then under what basis the car, for example, gets totaled. At that point. So that my car, for example, got totaled, okay, that time. Under what basis does that happen? You know, like, is there like a sort of like guideline that, you know, people should know and be aware of, you know, if the car gets totaled or not?
Sure. So my background was working for 2 of the biggest insurance companies in the U.S.
Okay.
And so they do have an internal process. Every insurance company has a different one. They have adjusters. They're going to come look at the vehicle, and they have their own, you know, calculations at that point. I don't know, you know, it gets more technical, but if it is more expensive to fix the vehicle than it is to replace it, then they're going to total the vehicle. However, I had a person call me yesterday telling me that they had a Lexus. It's like the mini SUV Lexus. Yeah. That one is about $40,000. The accident was 4 months ago, and they're still fixing the vehicle, and the bill is $30,000 so far. So I told him, I don't know why your car hasn't been totaled.
Right.
And I don't know why the insurance is paying so much.
I see cases like that even on very high-end cars. Like, I have companies call me and tell me, listen, come look at this car, okay? The car does only have an accident on the Carfax, we're going to talk about that in a second. But the car's never been totaled. It was in an accident, okay? So you will expect that the damage on the car is like even if it's a major damage, it's nothing to do with structural. Like, you know, like the car is still like in good condition to drive. But then you go see the car. And it happened to me like multiple times, and I go see the car, and the car is literally structural damage. Like, there's like frame that it's bent and it's broken at times too. And that's what I still don't get it to this day. I'm like, what is the criteria there?
Right.
Now, are they people, like, do you know if there are people that are able to like ask the insurance themselves and be like, I don't want to total the car because I'm going to be making more money if I sell it off, you know, the way as is after the accident? Does that happen?
Yeah, you could tell your insurance that, you know, I just want to salvage the vehicle, for example. But, you know, sometimes it's not really convenient. I'm sure you know about doing, like, the business of selling vehicles to, you know, wholesalers or wholesalers to people. Right. It's not through bids and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's just not as simple. I don't recommend it. One thing I do recommend is that you get gap insurance. Okay. Or make sure that your insurance coverage covers for the entire value of the vehicle, and if there's a difference, that's covered. Otherwise, then you're going to be...
Explain me a little bit more about that, about gap insurance. What exactly do you mean by gap?
So gap insurance is going to cover if there is a total loss, right?
Okay.
It's supposed to, because I've seen some crazy cases, but in paper, what it's supposed to do is cover the difference between what they're going to give you for the value of your vehicle, okay, and what you're owed, like what you have to pay on the vehicle. So say, for example, it's a Ferrari, and they're telling you, Matteo, I'm going to give you $100,000, and you're like, my Ferrari, I'm paying for it, it's $250, you can show proof of it, I have a loan on this. So gap insurance is supposed to cover that difference, that $150 difference.
Okay, interesting. And then what's the difference between exactly gap insurance and then when you ask for diminishing value?
Ooh, So diminished value is very interesting, very common here in Florida. So diminished value will be the
Especially with all the people that wreck the cars around.
oh my goodness, I know.
And they lie about it too.
Oh, I know. So the first thing you need to know about diminished value is that it only applies to the party that was not at fault. So if you caused the accident, it's not going to apply to you.
Okay.
And so it is what will be
While
the
gap insurance actually covers for the party that is at fault.
correct.
Okay.
Because you're paying for it is within your insurance coverage. So that's good to know.
Okay.
And so it's the value of your vehicle in the market after the accident. The accident caused your vehicle to go down in value. Correct. If you're going to sell it tomorrow because of the accident, the value is going to be less.
Yes.
Even if you replace it with like good parts,
correct,
it's going to go down.
And no matter what, Carfax, it's a huge thing in this country. First thing you do whenever you purchase a vehicle is check your Carfax. Everybody, I tell that to everybody, I suggest to everybody, that's the very first thing. That is like the Bible of cars. Whenever you buy a car, first thing, don't even look at the color of the car. Don't look if the paint is okay. Look at Carfax and then look at everything else. Wow. Because it really does affect the value a lot, especially in these type of vehicles.
Interesting.
They gotta be low owners and well maintained. You can see on Carfax and no accident. Wow. But several type of accidents just really affect it so much. Okay. You could really even talking about 30-40% of the value of the car, one minor accident.
Yeah, and unfortunately here in South Florida, there's this. It happens to like those small dealers. They sell you vehicles and they're rebuilt title vehicles. And so I had a question for you.
Please, go ahead.
So what would be a rebuilt title vehicle?
So a rebuilt title vehicle, okay, so whenever you buy it, so there's a few ways of buying a car that it was salvage and then it was turned into a rebuild, okay? So when you buy a car salvage, usually you buy from the main auction platform, which is AAAI, it's called. The other one is Copart, but there's different ones that you can do. Usually, it's the only dealer platform, so only dealers can access those type of platform, but there's ways of going about it. Even private parties can do that by paying a fee. They can buy those cars. So what you have to do is that you get the car that has been whatever sort of accident, which could be a physical accident, so cosmetic, or it could be even a flood damage, which the car, let's say, went through a hurricane, which, like is very common here in Florida. Once a year it happens, like usually after the hurricane, usually there's a lot of claims and there's a lot of cars that come flooding into the market, which most of the time it's a very minor thing and people just do it because they're like, let's say I have a $350,000 Ferrari F8 and they're like, I've been paying this crazy amount of money in insurance. Why do I need to have a car that is being fixed? They're like, if my insurance, knowing the issue that it's happening with the hurricane, they can just write it off and you can just put it salvage, and with those exact money, I go buy another car, which is brand new from the dealer, which a lot of people do it that way. So you can even find good deals on it sometimes, but it could be, so there could be different things. And then what happens is you get the car salvage, you go through the repair that you have to do, and then you have to go to DMV to get the car inspected. You get the car inspected DMV. Once they give the check mark approved, they're going to give you an envelope. That envelope is going to contain all the repair that you did on the car and the fact that they check the repair that you did on that car. The main thing that they want to see, if the car had a cosmetic work done, they want to see the parts that you replaced or fixed, and if there's any airbags. That's the main thing.
You're buying as is, basically.
So you're buying the car as is, and you just get into whatever repair that you got to take.
You're assuming the responsibility, basically,
of the whole thing. So let's say you buy a car and you just look at the picture, they say the car runs and drives, and it's crazy. It's back in the days, I bought a couple of cars that were salvage, and one of which was from an auction, Copart, actually. Mm-hmm. And the car was flood damage, but they said the car was run and drive. These people, which I think on some level they're scammers too, even Copart, which is like a huge company, they told me that the car was a run and drive car. I get the car. The car was like cosmetically perfect. Interior was pretty good, okay? So of course, some mold here and there that was, water came in, it's normal, okay? I was about to do the whole interior. I go to try to turn on the car, and the car has an engine that is completely seized, it's locked. So I have to go replace the whole engine. But the car, you told me that it was run and drive. That's why I bought it, and that's why I paid a premium. And these guys, they always have these sort of like small letters, in their contracts and all that. Boy. They do not care what happens. Like, they could be lying. straightforward, and they make you pay for the car, and then they don't do anything about it.
Wow.
So then you go through the process, you got to replace the motor, do everything, but then you go to DMV, you can get the car rebuilt. So and then you have a rebuild title from salvage, it becomes rebuilt. Then you put it into the marketplace. A lot of people could ask, what's the difference in pricing? Because, it's a big difference in pricing. On cars like Ferrari and Lamborghinis, for example, is the one that we treat, you're looking about a 35%. It's a buffer between 20 to 35%, depending on the accident that the car had before. And there, that's your buffer. From a clean spec, same mileage car, you got to take about 20 to 35% based on the accident that he had previously.
So that we're talking.
So we're talking about a lot of money.
Right.
Yes. So there's a lot of people that do that. They rather buy salvage title, rebuild title cars, which most of the time they're rebuilt really well. Okay. And they do that because they drive it. They don't care about putting mileage on the car. It's just more of a car that you can drive on a daily basis. The car that we have behind us, for example, if you're talking about $1 million car right now, it's a 2-owner car with 400 miles. If a car like that gets into an accident at any point in time, there you lose more than 30% of the value of the car. There you're talking about 40% of the value, because then it loses all the collectability of the vehicle.
Right.
Little parenthesis, it's, thank you for the question, but it's a very broad conversation in this industry, really big.
No, and so basically, long story short, that car, you have to be very careful when you drive it, especially down here in South Florida.
Yeah, I put 30 miles on that car, and I'm about done with it.
Oh my God.
It's not moving anymore.
Yeah, and so quick question, because a lot of people say they want to own Ferraris. Like me personally, I would love to own one at some point.
Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Oh, Ferrari.
Ferrari. There you go.
Yeah.
It's class, guys.
I'm a classy girl, 100%.
It's class.
And so, but people say, okay, I have a Ferrari, but they don't understand the cost, behind that, behind owning a Ferrari. And I remember I used to work for the owner of an airline, and he had an amazing car collection. That's where I fell in love with cars. Okay. And his Ferraris, when he would take them for service, the bill would come, and it was like $15,000 every time. So is that like an average cost?
It's not an average cost. The thing is, when you buy Ferrari, especially new, tendency they give you insurance. They give you warranty. When they give you warranty lasts for about 2 years.
Wow.
Thing is, when you take the car to the dealership, the markup that they have on this type of work that they do, it's ridiculous. You're talking about $500 an hour for a technician just to work on your car.
My goodness.
So it's very expensive on that type of thing, and parts, they mark them up like 300% on what they actually are, Wow. Because they assume all the time you have a Ferrari, you have money. Okay, so that's a lot of the stuff that I really don't like about the industry, because at the end of the day, if a module needs to be replaced, and most of these cars even share certain modules with other vehicles that are much cheaper, in value. Okay. But just because it's a Ferrari and you're supposed to put in a Ferrari, they just put 300% on that part for no reason whatsoever. Wow. For example, now online, very famous, there's this guy rebuilding a Bugatti. Okay, his name is Alex, and the other guy is Matt. They're rebuilding a Bugatti. It's like a $6 million car, right? They got it from this auction, Copart. They bought the car. Now, they go find out that the same airbags, for example, that Bugatti was going to sell them for thousands and thousands of dollars, they share the same housing, the same airbag with a Volkswagen Passat, which is a $35, $40 part, Yes, maybe so there's a lot of this happening, especially on a dealership level, okay? That's why a lot of, we even open our own service shop, certified independent service shop for Lamborghini, because you have, there are options out there, honestly. Going to the dealership all the time, it's ridiculous. Cost of owning a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, yes, it's high. You have to talk about high insurance costs, okay?
Right.
Your payments or whatever you want to put, they're going to be very high, maybe you're not going to be able to drive the car all the time. It is not suggested because mileage really affect the price of the car. Even if you don't care, you're still going to be careful about it, right? And yes, it's expensive. It's not as expensive as the dealership makes it look.
So basically, if you have a Ferrari, talk to this guy for maintenance.
For sure, yeah. No, but yes, it's, and let me tell you, there's a lot of tiers of Ferrari. So you can go from 100, even below $100,000, you can get an entry-level Ferrari. honestly. At a very, actually, pretty decent price, you know, and you get to millions of dollars, and that, like, you can get, that's why I like Ferrari, like, it's a very broad spectrum at this point.
Wait, there's one Ferrari that I really like, but people keep telling me, not to get it. Not like I can get it now, but
Let me guess it. Is it the California?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the entry level Ferrari. That's definitely, honestly, you can find California good spec, good like mileage, about 25,000 miles, which is still good for that car, for that V8. To be honest, $65,000, $70,000.
I know.
Right now. Which, to be honest with you, at that point, you look at yourself, do I buy a Range Rover or do I buy a Ferrari? Like, that's like literally like you're looking at that. Honestly, if that's what you're deciding between, get a Ferrari. Like, get it, man, get it. Okay. Honestly, I still think a California for that price, it looks amazing. You're driving a Ferrari with like 500 and some horsepower. I don't know the exact number on that car specifically, and it's a great car. It's hardtop convertible. It's good. Get that car.
Okay.
I'll help you get that. I think
help me get it.
On that. And I'll tell you more about insurance on that car later. Okay?
Oh boy.
Okay, so what we talk about this diminishing value, okay, which that's, as we said, it's a very big thing. And do diminishing value on like lower tier car, does that work? Like, is that people like request diminishing value? Do diminishing value claims as much as high-end cars, or you think it's like different?
Well, it makes more sense if you have a more expensive car, because the difference is going to be higher. And so me, for example, I help my clients with every diminished value claim they have, but that's not the case everywhere.
Right.
Some attorneys won't take it if it's, a lower, I don't want to say any
For example,
brand.
a Toyota Corolla. Let's say a Toyota Corolla, and I don't know, it's like a $15,000 car.
Right.
Then gets on a fairly minor accident that is involving like probably like $1,000, let's say.
Right.
So would like a lawyer take that, or?
That's one where I sit with my client and I tell them, listen, you're going to get a couple $100 on this. You want to move forward? This takes about a year. So, and then the client makes the decision. I like to offer the whole package to my clients. So, the whole bodily injury part, if you're hurt, and helping them with diminished value, but you have to have those conversations with your clients and tell them, hey, I take my percentage because, like I said, I get paid if you get paid. But
what's the percentage usually a lawyer will take?
So the Florida bar actually has their percentages laid down for the attorneys. You could charge
so they're
less than
preset
that.
already. Like, it's not like a lawyer can throw like whatever number.
Correct, and that's really good because that is a protection for consumers here.
Right.
So roughly 1/3. So it's
1/3. Okay,
1/3
that's not that bad.
Yeah, and I do
let's
everything.
say you don't have to put like as a customer to the attorney, you don't have to put anything down?
Nope.
Nothing. Just gotta convince the lawyer to take the case.
Correct. So roughly 1/3, and I do everything. I do everything for them. And if we go to court, we have to pay, money on court fees, all of those things, and so.
Which it can get really expensive, huh?
Correct. So if you go to court, that percentage usually goes to. It depends on the case, but it can go from 1/3 to 40%. Going to court could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that the attorney or the firm is paying for you.
Right.
So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree. So tell me, I want to know definitely like what's the craziest accident you work on?
Oh my God, I have plenty. I'll tell you. One product liability case, which is considered an accident, which is something that I love doing because I like to take care of consumers. And so one of them was my lady who bought this drill. This is a drill, brand new drill. And it's one of those that you just connect, like the battery goes like here. Okay. Right? It was a pink drill. So cute. And, she used her drill. And so a couple of times before the accident happened, and the third day, I believe, second or third day, that she wanted to use her drill, she connected the drill with her charger. And less than an hour later, the drill basically, long story short, I'm just simplifying it, caught fire. And her whole apartment almost caught fire, but the worst part was the battery. The worst part was that the battery basically exploded on her leg, and it caused second-degree burns. There's literally holes.
So the battery exploded on her leg.
The battery exploded on her leg, causing chemical burns, which is terrible for your skin, could cause like serious, health issues. There were...
You said second-degree burn?
Second-degree burns.
Ooh la la.
Her leg has literally holes of the acid of the battery. This is a lithium battery.
Right.
And so these are chemicals that obviously your body's not supposed to get in contact with. This is hot. She almost lost her leg. Like, it was really bad. And so now her leg has permanent, like, stains, scarring. She has to go to the hospital every 2 to 3 months to get that clean, which hurts a lot because they have to basically scratch the skin. And she's getting what's called a skin graft. So it's pieces of a dead body skin, and then they place it there because she's getting like skin implants, basically. It was pretty bad.
So at that point, what do you do as a lawyer? Like, then I'm assuming now, you go try sue the drill company, right?
So this is very interesting because you can sue everyone that was involved in the chain of commerce. That's how it's called.
Oh, okay.
So without
From the
naming,
manufacturer to the retailer?
correct.
Wow.
You can do that, and so basically we go after everyone.
So in this case, example, who was it? Can you say names?
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
My bad.
It's okay.
I like the juice.
I know, but so it is very important to know where you're buying. Long story short, where you're buying your goods, keep receipts if you can, take pictures, and if something happens, call an attorney as soon as possible.
Sure. So now, for like a bodily injury that bad that she could have lost her leg, and she's gonna have things for the rest of her life to take care of, right? So like, there we can talk about like big figures, like that's like big money.
seven figures easily. It is a big claim. The hospital bills, you can only imagine.
Ooh, yeah.
And she has to go to therapy. So that is one of them. The other one was a car accident not too far from here. And it's funny because people say, oh, I don't go out at night or be careful at night because that's when the bad accidents happen. I learned that a bad accident can happen anywhere, anytime. This was a crazy one. 2 months ago, my clients were driving on the highway around this area, Doral, and so they were just going straight.
Okay.
Speed limit, all good. 4 people in the vehicle. Someone was racing a motorcycle, lost control, hit my client's vehicle, sent 4 people to the hospital. One, unfortunately, didn't make it. It was at 1 p.m. on a Saturday.
No way.
And so my client, sadly...
How fast was this guy going with the motorcycle?
So according to witnesses, over 100 miles per hour.
Okay.
And
you gotta go through like the steal of a car. I mean, like...
It was bad. We don't know any information
so sorry
about
for
the
loss,
no, it was really bad, and it was just the beginning of the year. So, but yeah, those are things that happen. Unfortunately, it could happen anytime, any day, and the most important thing is to, take care of yourselves first. That's what I tell people, my clients. Take care of yourself. See a doctor. Get treatment, and we'll take care of the rest.
I'm a little bit more curious. I'm sorry about this accident you just mentioned. So, in that case, I'm assuming the guy that was in the motorcycle didn't make it either.
The guy in the motorcycle escaped the scene. We don't know. We don't have information.
No way.
Yeah, there's a video.
At that point, the claim, like, who do you sue at that point?
So, because the guy in the motorcycle didn't, he was negligent as well because he was racing the car. He fled the scene. He didn't crash anyone, but, it was part of the whole thing. It was the guy in the car that caused the accident, and it was a chain of events. Hit my client, lost control, then hit 2 other cars. You're going against the person that caused the accident, ideally against the guy in the motorcycle, if we knew, who this person is, and the person that caused the accident, a 20-something-year-old kid.
Wow.
So that's what you do.
Wow, that's crazy. That's bad.
It is bad.
I see you post a lot on your social media, you know, like things that happen and then they go eventually viral, you know, like, because like it's almost like impossible not to watch it when you see it on, because there's some crazy stuff going on.
Yep.
I mean, I thought most of it, you know, was AI and stuff, but then I ask you, and then you tell me, no, it's true stuff that happened. I'm like, I thought it was Sora, you know, like working on a new, you know, update. No, but it's crazy stuff.
Yep.
And then I saw one that was involving even, I think it was a Lambo, if I'm not mistaken, on the MacArthur.
A what?
A Lamborghini on the MacArthur.
Oh,
I think there was
yeah.
a guy that kind of like lost control. And
The
car started like going left and right in the middle of the MacArthur, crazy.
Yep.
Was that like a rent-a-car, no?
That was one of, because I post a lot of accidents and stuff that's happening, and I did some research on that one. There was also one, I think that was the same one, but the person, if I'm not mistaken, was going really fast, like it's coming, and lose control, crash, total loss, terrible. I hope the person is fine. And there was a big one, actually, in the news of, I think it was a stolen Ferrari. Someone that stole a Ferrari, right?
Yes, I saw that. Yes. It was a Puro Sangue. It was a Ferrari Puro Sangue in, I think it was downtown or Brickell. So one of the two.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the two. They stole the car, and the car was pretty new. I think the guy just bought the car. They took the car from his driveway, and this guy started driving, you know, like fleeing the scene. Happened that while he was driving, he hit the sidewalk. So the axle, the rear axle of the car just twisted, and then you can see the guy keeps on going, and the car just going like sideways, 45 degrees through the road.
Like a movie.
Until he just hit a post, and he just...
Like Fast and Furious.
And this guy got out of the car and kept on running. I'm like, what you running from, bro? They're gonna catch you. Like,
I don't understand people that keep running, or you have like 300 police officers behind you.
yeah, no, that's
And
ridiculous.
you're just like,
It's
there's a
ridiculous.
freaking helicopter on top of you.
Where are you running to?
What are you gonna,
Do
like-
you have like a basement that connects to another country? Like, I don't know. You know, that's nuts. Like, I always ask myself. Like, it happened to me. I saw one time, actually in the highway, and then I see this guy getting out of the car, and he starts running. You know those highways that they have like the side that is like grass? And he started running on the side that is grass. I'm like, bro, you're in plain sight. Like, we can all see you. Like, you're not going anywhere. Like,
Were you there?
Yes,
see
it
it in
happened. Like, it was
person?
on the way back from Orlando, I think. Yeah, that I
That
saw
is
that.
scary.
And it's crazy. I'm like, bro, everybody sees you. Where do you think you're running to? You're not a cheetah or anything, you know? Like,
They're gonna get you.
they're gonna come get you. Like, at some point, like me, if I start running, they catch you. You know, like, you're not even running that fast. You know, like, come on, man. You can do better than that. So are insurance companies really on the driver's side when an accident happens?
That's a good question. It really depends on many factors. The insurance company is very important.
Okay.
The adjuster, their team, your policy. But long story short, they should. They should, because it's a law. You have to look for the interest of your insured. Does it happen all the time? Unfortunately, not. Like I said, depends on the insurance company, but that's why we step in, because unfortunately, people are in a situation where they're not getting anywhere, or that they're not getting what they deserve.
Right.
And so, like I told you, this guy that called me yesterday on the Lexus, he's like, my car has been in the shop for 8 months. No one's talking to me from the insurance company, my insurance company. I still pay my premiums.
Right.
And I'm still paying my car. And I had to rent a vehicle. So I have been paying for a rental for
additional expenses.
Correct. And no one's recognizing that for him. So that comes to coverage as well. It's very important, guys. Get a coverage that includes rental, because you don't know if the person that causes the accident has that for you. And if you have to work, if we have, like in Miami, everyone has a car. We need a car for everything.
Yes.
So
Public
have that.
transportation.
It's not the best.
Not in this town, no.
No, so that is very important. Go with big name insurance companies.
Yes, I want to know some insurance that are better than other and the worse than other.
Like I said, I like the three big ones.
Okay.
I'm sure you know who they are, but
State Farm is there?
State Farm, Progressive, Geico. I personally have one of them. I tend to see that they, like I said, it really depends on the adjuster and their team. I've seen them do things that I'm like, what is this happening? Why is this happening? And things like that. I've seen very unfair things, but they tend to be, depends on your history of driving, they tend to be a little bit more expensive. But there are I want to talk about this really small insurance companies in Miami. And their address is like a warehouse in the middle of like Hialeah. And then the problem with these companies is that, you're like not paying a lot of money, you're saving money, but when you get into an accident, they don't even respond to me as attorney.
Yeah, no,
like, sure. I find myself calling all day to talk to this company. I find myself sending letters, emails, they don't even respond. And let alone they don't even talk to their insurers. So then you are in a situation where your car is not getting fixed, you don't have any rental coverage, they're not talking to you. So guys, get insurance, always get insurance, but try to get
a good one.
Yeah, a good one.
Yes. Little story. So back a couple of years ago, we're talking about 7 years ago, I had a motorcycle and I moved to Miami, and I was working at this restaurant on the beach, and I go find out that I need to have, on a motorcycle that is over 50 cc, I need to get insurance. Correct. For a motorcycle. So me, a broke guy, desperate Italian guy in Miami that just definitely doesn't want to pay for insurance. So I go find this most Hialeah type of insurance that I could possibly find. And Progressive, I talked to Progressive, I talked with Allstate, I talked to a bunch of them. And they were telling me, like, you got to pay like $170 a month. And I'm like, what? I go to these guys and they're like, listen, what do you need insurance for? I'm like, man, honestly, I just saw that the officer stops me and I can show him something. And like, I got you. How does $75 work? I'm like, oh, $75 a month I can do. No, $75 a year. I'm like, buddy, you got me in. So, but I learned my lesson, like, and then I ended up selling the motorcycle, and then I wouldn't do that again, Right. But definitely I thought to myself, I'm like, if something happens with that, I'm screwed. Like, and then I go find out the type of claims that people do for the small, little, most stupid accident. People ask for hundreds of thousands of dollars for these little tiny accidents that happen, that then I was like, it's better to be covered because, this is a very litigious country compared to where we're from, that is like more like you kind of resolve it between the two parties. Here, lawyer is everything. You got to go to a lawyer, got to go to an insurance company. You always got to be covered.
Yeah, and to that point, people tell you, oh, people here sue for everything. But let's look at the companies, obviously. If companies were more willing to work with people, with their insured, with their customers, then we wouldn't necessarily have to step in or file suit. And so that's one of the goals that I try to do for my clients is to resolve issues if we don't have to, and if I have to, I will, sue, right? And so because some clients are not ready to file suit, they don't like litigation, they don't want to get to that point, and so if you're that type of person, you need an attorney that's willing to understand that and help you with like a pre-suit process and trying to solve everything before it goes to court. Sometimes you have to, and I don't mind. I love suing. I'm that type of person. But believe me, I am the type of attorney that I try to solve everything pre-suit before I file suit.
That's what I was about to ask.
Right.
You tend to go to do before you go into trial, you go into court.
100%.
You try to resolve it there, right?
Oh yeah, and not everyone's like that, but I try to do
Are
that.
insurances more prone to do that?
So it really depends on the insurance company, and I hate to keep saying that, but it's so different depending on the insurance company. Some are more like, sue me, and I'm like, my client had to get surgery. Like, what are we talking? It's like a minimum coverage. You're $10,000 per person, $20 per claim. Yeah. My client went to the hospital, had surgery. Not gonna mention the insurance company, but they're like, sue me, file suit. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We're like, so they have some insurance companies have in-house attorneys, others subcontract attorneys, which is what I used to do.
Okay.
And that is costly.
Yeah.
And so, you're supposed to help your insured. Why spend more money? Why waste more money? My client needs this money for, paying because he has bills from the hospital. And if you know this, your health insurance is not going to cover 100% of your bills. You're always going to be left with something.
For sure. For sure. So do you think insurances, do they have like a certain degree of human, how do you say it? Wait, let me rephrase the question. Do they have a certain degree of empathy toward the person that maybe got injured, or really it's just a numbers game?
Some do. I have my client that passed away. She had two of they're from Illinois, okay? And so apparently in Illinois, you can have two different insurance companies to cover two different vehicles. Here you can't do that.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
Right,
okay.
And so one of the insurance companies, the lady called me when she found out, almost crying. And she's like, yeah, we're going to tender policy limits. Basically, we're going to give you policy limits. And they were very understanding of the situation. So when an accident is someone passes away or it is a very serious accident, I tend to see that insurance companies are willing to work more with you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean that's a hope that we all have, like especially, if it's like a loss happens and stuff like that. But it scares me sometimes thinking that, like a lot of people really don't care. Like they have zero humanitarian, spirit. They don't really care what happens to you. Like it's just a numbers game. Like somebody lost their lives and they just put a number on that life. That's like.
Yeah, it is sad. I actually heard of a person that unfortunately was given 3 months of life because he has cancer, and he is in the hospital now, and he has life insurance. And depending on your coverage and your policy, sometimes you can even get part of that coverage in life.
Okay.
Once you have some sort of proof that, it is a terminal illness. Yeah. I have that. So he provided all the documents. His ex-wife is helping him. And the company's like, no, we're not going to give you that money. So that's the situation where, apparently you are a number for them. It is in the policy. I've seen it. I have that coverage, and it's just scary to think that these things happen, because what if you need that money now? If you want to cover those things, you have been he was paying for this policy for years, and they're like, nope. And there are people that unfortunately they pass away, and the life insurance company is going to take forever to pay you, or they're going to try to come up with an excuse not to pay you. Like imagine paying for, life insurance for 10 years, and then unfortunately something, happens and you passed away, and they're like, oh, after careful investigation, we're not going to cover because you didn't disclose that you had, that you had COVID, for example. I'm just giving you an example. Like very small things. Very small things that they could base on the policy. And people don't read those policies. I do it for a living, right? But my God, these are 40, 50-page policies. Yeah. And so, like you mentioned, the little letters, and they are like, well, you didn't read it, we read it.
Because at the end of the day, an insurance as well, it's a business.
Right, 100%.
It's a very high, revenue, high profit as well.
Oh, yeah, people say it is the most revenue-driven and profit, biggest.
It's huge.
Business in the world.
Right.
And the best way to make money if you have that money to open an insurance company.
That's crazy, yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. And and the fact that it's a recurring revenue, because people are going to pay month after month after month after month, and the casualties on that, are smaller than the amount of money that people are willing to pay. So, at the end of the day.
Do you want to know where your money goes every month?
Yes.
So I actually happen to know someone that was the VP for the biggest insurance company in the world, really.
Okay.
You can Google it. I won't say it, but it's there. And Treasury. So Treasury that's a department that takes care of investments.
Okay.
Insurance companies invest your money. That's how they make the money.
Okay.
It's not going to be from what you pay to them. No, they're going to reinvest that money, and then you get dividends, you get interest, and that's how they make money. And they make a lot of money through that.
Okay, I see.
So it's not through premiums. It's going to be with working with your money, basically.
Now, stepping 1 second away from the car scene. So, for example, talking about what happened in California, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, all the fire that happened.
Yeah.
So what caused? So I know like a lot of people started putting claims on the insurance, and they all imploded pretty much because they had too many claims and they couldn't back it up and all that. What happens in that case if like an insurance legitimately cannot pay for the claim that you're doing and it's a justifiable claim? Sure. I know like for sure they go through Chapter 11, like I mean they go through bankruptcy, all that. But like what really happens with that money? So
have you heard of FEMA here in Florida, right? So your state is supposed to have a fund for when this happens. Okay. Insurance companies, yes, you're paying for it, and you might say, it is unfair that I have been paying for this policy, for this homeowner's insurance policy for, 10 years. Right. And then because there's too many claims, it would bankrupt the company if they paid. And that's what happened. They said, listen, we cannot pay. So that's when your state is supposed to step in with this fund and help you. Unfortunately, it really depends on the state, but unfortunately, sometimes there's not enough money for that. That's why we see the example of Louisiana, right? After this huge hurricane, part of it is still destroyed. People lost their homes. And the worst part is that, these people have mortgages to pay.
Right, exactly.
And people say, what happens with the bank doesn't care. Yeah. Bank's not going to care. Let me delete your mortgage because your house burned down or it was taken by a hurricane. Unfortunately, that's not.
It's still the same amount of money that they gave you to buy that house. You
Correct.
Still have to pay for them. That's crazy. It is a scary world, eh?
Oh.
It is a scary world.
Oh, yeah.
You better be prepared, better have a good lawyer. That's 1,000%. Yes, sir. Okay, so now at the end of the podcast, I have a few questions to ask you, quick fire question, to ask you that we ask pretty much every guest that comes in. First one, since we talked about injuries, most misunderstood injury.
In my case, it would be emotional, believe it or not.
Okay.
PTSD.
Oh, okay.
Some people cannot literally get out of their house. Some people are depressed after an accident. Some people cannot drive. And unfortunately, insurance companies, they see it more of a subjective symptom or injury that you have. Okay. But this could be long-term. This could be forever, permanent.
Right.
So that would be a big one.
Was it always like that, or is it something that is recent?
It has been changing, and now it's worse than ever. Yeah. Yep.
But you think people play a little bit on it, on that sort of claim?
Yeah, some people could definitely do that. My law firm takes a lot of big cases, a lot of serious cases. So when you have a case where someone passed away and the husband tells me, I have PTSD, I'm depressed, that's like obvious. At that point it's. And so I'm glad to say that a lot of my cases, when there is PTSD, when there is, a mental anguish claim and stuff like that, I would say, 100%. And so when you see someone that, calls me crying, tells me I can't go to work, I can't get out of my house. I have a dog bite case. Okay. And the lady cannot hear a dog bark. No dog can approach to her. She's traumatized for life. Yeah. That has a value.
Before making any psychological claims, do you need to be checked by a specialist?
Yes, and that is so important. And that's the difference between someone that would, could fake it or not. My clients go to specialists. These are certified psychologists. These are therapists. These are nurse practitioners. These are people that their license is on the line. So if you have something going on, they're going to show that you have it. They're going to prepare a report. Like, it's all about writing everything, documenting everything. And so it's not about just saying, when people come in, they're like, I'm traumatized, I can't get out of my house, I'm depressed. I'm like, have you seen a doctor? Like, have you told your doctor that, you are feeling this way? Oh, no, I'm just telling you. At that point, you're like, come on, you got to go look for help. That's when you know, okay, how are you going to show this is real? You need a professional.
Yeah. If you get into a major accident and you end up going to the hospital, do you actually get checked automatically by the hospital for any mental problems that you might have had during, or injuries during that accident?
Okay, so when you first go to, say, there is an accident, you go the first night, right? Usually you're not going to complain about, having any mental anguish issues. Right. At that point, some people can show it as early as, the day off. But what they're going to check is basically your body, really. Right. They could send a referral. They could say, go see a psychologist. Absolutely. But in the emergency room, there's not going to be anyone that's going to help you with that. So at that point, you have to go seek a professional.
Yeah. And then one thing you should never say after an accident.
Oh my God. Don't say it's your fault if you don't know. If it's your fault. Like, come on. Just if you caused an accident, you're not sure if it's your fault. Or even if you're like, maybe it was my fault. Wait till the police comes. The police is going to determine who was at fault. I had a person that called me that got into an accident, and the other person, and it was a rear end accident. Basically, he was in a parking lot, he was going straight, and the person, crashed the back of his vehicle. And the person told him it was the fault of my client. Oh, it was your fault because you were going too slow. And so he didn't know. He doesn't know how the system works. And he calls me and he's like, oh, the person told me it was my fault. I'm like, how is it going to be your fault? By the way, 99.9% of the times when there is a reared end, it is going to be the fault of the person that crashes your vehicle in the back. Yes. Don't let someone else tell you it's your fault. Wait for the police. The police is going to determine who is at fault. That's very important.
Should you talk to the person that you hit or hit you after an accident?
You can. Well, if they hit you, I would wait in my vehicle. If you're hurt, call 911. Yeah. But call the police regardless. You always have to. Yeah. If they come, let them come to you. If they caused the accident, if they want to talk to you, let them come to you. Another bad thing that you can say is when people ask you if you're okay and you really are not. You don't know where. It's like when people ask you, how are you? And you say you're fine, but you're actually like depressed, like you're not fine. Yeah. That's how people say it here. It's more like, it's like automatic. People tell you, oh, are you okay? And you're going to say, yes. They can use that against you. They can tell the police. They can tell the insurance company that you said that. If you are not sure if you're fine, if you're not fine, no. If you can talk, don't talk. That's fine. And and also, if you caused the accident, if you want to check if the other person is fine, you could do that. But, exchange insurance information, but I wouldn't become best friends with the other person. Like, a lot of people, they share a lot of information. And so keep in mind, whatever you tell the other person, the insurance and the police can be used against you in an accident.
Yeah, when I got into an accident in Orlando, we were in the middle of the road. We were restaurant left and right. And after an hour that we were waiting for the police, I went to grab lunch with the guy.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't be like Matteo, okay? Just try not to, okay? Matteo is a red flag. It's a really red flag.
Question, did they sue you for that accident?
No, the guy was super chill.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, his car, literally, it was a Toyota Sequoia
Okay.
with a big tow hinge in the back like this. My car, I was
Got
driving,
wrecked, yeah.
it was a Hyundai Accent, or a whatever. I don't remember what type of model that was. It was a small little Hyundai, little sedan. My car was pretty much split open in a half. Like the front was like a big V, and my engine was like all the fluids were leaking. Oil was everywhere. The car wasn't turning on anymore. It was a complete shit show, if I had to say. But the guy's car was fine. He said, "Are you good?" I said, "I'm fine," you know. And it was my fault. I was on the phone. I was calling clients, and I'm like, "Don't text and drive." Okay, let's move on. Should we call insurance or attorney first?
Attorney.
Attorney?
Call the police. You get into an accident, call the police. If you need medical help, tell them, I need medical help. Bring in an ambulance. When you're okay, when you can talk, call your attorney. And the attorney calls the insurance company.
Okay. Does modifying or tuning your vehicle affect injury or diminished value claims?
Yeah, it can. Because if you modified a vehicle and had a failure due to that modification and that caused the accident, there you go. You know, it was the modification of the vehicle. And so, or if you, obviously, I'm not going to modify myself a vehicle, but then at that point you have another party, which is the shop that modified the vehicle, if it is proven that that modification caused the accident.
Okay.
So you have another party to blame. As far as diminished value, they're going to look at everything you do to the vehicle. If you're using recognized or original parts,
right.
What will be the value with those parts of the vehicle? So the
inspector that come check your car after the accident will go as deep to check if there's any modification to the car, if even like into the engine or to the brakes, will it go that deep?
It depends on the adjuster. Theoretically, yes, but you know, sometimes what happens is that they do something, you know, look over it. They're going to ask you if you modify they're going to ask me if I'm talking in your behalf. Yeah. And I mean, obviously don't lie about it, but if they don't see it, you don't mention it, then at that point, it's a matter of, well, obviously, I'm always going to tell the truth. My client should tell the truth. It's all about the parts. You know, what part are you using? If you're using an original part, if you're using a part that actually enhances the value of your vehicle, then that shouldn't be a problem because you're actually helping the value of your vehicle. You're helping your case. Now, if you are, you know, if you have a Ferrari and you're adding parts, like cheap parts from like Temu and stuff like that, and you took originals and they noticed that, or it's mentioned, right? Then it's going to affect your diminished value claim because the price will be different of a whole original car or one that has like cheap parts.
Right, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. So, guys, whenever you get into an accident, whenever you have doubts about what you're doing and you just got into any sort of accident, any sort of altercation, please call Maria. We put information right here. You can follow her on Instagram at
Accidents by Mari.
There we go. Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Ciao.